An increasing number of journalists in Lebanon have been targeted and killed by the IDF. In fact, this past weekend alone, 3 journalists were killed as they were in a vehicle. So the 3 journalists killed in Lebanon were killed in targeted strikes. Doesn't appear that the IDF is even denying that. And this took place this past weekend on Saturday. Those killed include Ali Choieb, who was a correspondent for the Al-Manar TV network, which allegedly has affiliations with Hezbollah. Now, he himself, there's no evidence that he was in Hezbollah. And I just think it's important to bear repeating. Hezbollah has been determined as a terrorist organization by the United States, okay? All right. It's also an established political party in Lebanon and has pretty widespread support in southern Lebanon, probably because Hezbollah defends Lebanon's borders. So there's that. But anyway, Fatima Ftouni, a correspondent for Al Mayadeen, and her brother, who was working as her camera person, they were both killed in the vehicle during these Israeli strikes as well. So the 3 were traveling together in a car close to the southern town of Jazin at the time of this attack. Now, one of the journalists who worked closely with the individuals who were killed by the Israelis over the weekend, journalist Courtney Bonneau, shared her thoughts on the murder of her colleagues. And it's a difficult video to watch, to be honest with you, because this just keeps happening and it just feels like there's never any justice. But nonetheless, I think it's important to hear her words, especially considering how brave she is, reporting on the ground in Lebanon as an independent reporter, war correspondent. So with that in mind, take a look.
As you may already know, my colleagues Fatima Ftouni and Haj Ali Choieb were killed today in a targeted Israeli drone strike. Ali Choieb worked for Al-Manar and Fatima worked for Al Mayadeen. I worked with them in the field on the borders for the last 15 months, documenting Israeli war crimes. Haj Ali Choieb was a veteran journalist and devoted his entire career to documenting Israeli war crimes in South Lebanon. Fatima was one of the bravest journalists that I've ever met. She never shied away from danger. She never shied away from a report, ever. And today, while documenting these war crimes and the Israeli invasion of Lebanon, they became victims of a war crime themselves. They were shining examples of integrity and ethics. And we, as journalists in Lebanon, will honor their memory by continuing to work today and tomorrow and every day until the Israeli army is out of South Lebanon.
There are videos of her reports where like an Israeli drone is flying right above her head, a missile strike takes place right next to her. Like she's incredible. Look, when it comes to journalism, the people who are on the ground as war correspondents, I mean, that's how Jeremy Scahill got his start. These are the real deal. Like these people are amazing. And it just breaks my heart to see her in that, in that state, in that video. But anyway, Israel justified the killings by claiming that Ali Choieb was a member of Hezbollah's elite Radwan unit. Now, did they provide any evidence of that? No, they didn't. In fact, while his reporting was somewhat sympathetic to Hezbollah, again, which is an established political party in Lebanon, there's no indication that he was actually a militant or someone who was part of Hezbollah. So Trey Yingst, okay, had this pretty explosive report on Fox News, of all places. So pay close attention to what he says here.
3 Lebanese journalists were killed, including Ali Choieb, who worked for the Hezbollah-affiliated Al-Manar television network. The IDF accused Choieb of operating as a member of Hezbollah's Radwan forces and included a photo of him wearing a military uniform. When asked by Fox News about the source of the photo, the IDF responded, quote, "Unfortunately, there isn't really a picture of it. It was photoshopped."
They just say it. They just say it. No, we don't have evidence. It's a photoshopped image. Who cares? We killed the journalists. What are you gonna do about it? Give us money, give us bombs, fight our wars, and America will dutifully do it. Who are the terrorists again? We support the terrorists, we fund the terrorists. That's what the United States is doing right now. Also, if the IDF really suspected that Choieb was part of Hezbollah, why didn't they just arrest him on the many occasions they could have easily arrested him without killing additional journalists, by the way? So here's a great post on X that I came across, and it's totally correct. So let's take a look at this. Here's Ali Choieb reporting from right next to Israeli soldiers in September of 2023. If he was a Radwan Force elite combatant, why didn't they arrest him? How come they didn't feel threatened by him while standing literally next to him? Israel murdered a journalist in broad daylight, and mainstream media is recycling Israeli garbage to whitewash it. You're right about that. You're totally right about that, Mohammed. And the truth is that the IDF has launched a war on journalists. I think that's pretty clear. Remember, just about a week earlier, RT journalist Steve Sweeney was targeted by the IDF. Take a look.
Further rocket attacks were reported against Nahariya and admitted.
Is he part of Hezbollah? Is that what happened? He's not. Of course he's not. But he was targeted anyway. There's more. Who could forget the IDF putting a CNN journalist in a chokehold recently? This was in the West Bank. Take a look.
Producer Abir Salman identifies us as journalists before translating the soldiers' commands.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
So the soldiers just immediately came up and started pointing their weapons directly at us, telling everyone to sit down immediately. Obviously, we're not posing any threat here. The commander comes straight for our camera, and within seconds, a soldier has just put photojournalist Cyril Theophilus in a chokehold, forcing him to the ground.
Don't touch him like that. Don't touch him like that. Give me my phone.
The soldier who assaulted Theophilus continues to demand he turn off his camera before another smacks my phone.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
So as you can see, what we have seen happen in the last 24 hours is that settlers came to this area. They settled that hilltop. And now you have a lot of soldiers coming to this area with the Palestinians in this area. They're on top of the home of Imad, the man that we were just speaking to. And we're seeing the soldiers treat the Palestinians in the area as the threat, when really what started this problem was obviously the settlers who came in the middle of the night and took over land that's not theirs.
Yeah, but the IDF is there to help the settlers take the land that's not theirs. That's the whole point. And CNN was doing a little bit of journalism there, and it's kind of inconvenient for the terrorists in Israel. Israel killed 2/3 of the 129 journalists who were killed last year in 2025. And that's according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. So again, who are the terrorists? It's worth asking. Important question. Now, as far as Hezbollah goes, I will say Israel excels in one thing specifically, and that's creating new militant groups. So after Israel invaded Lebanon in 1982, that led to the formation of Hezbollah to protect their borders from a country that clearly has sought to expand its borders. It's never enough for the Israelis. So again, who are the terrorists? Look up the Armenian Fedayeen. Were they terrorists? Seems to me they were trying to defend their villages from Turkish aggression. But today, our country would call the people fighting to protect their country the terrorists, as long as they're aligned with the aggressors.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.